Hello and welcome to this week's chat. And today in this live, I really want to talk about making a better viewer experience and turning your viewers into super fans. So lots of chat happening before the stream started today. So welcome to everybody. So good to see you all. I just had some little glitches happen as I was starting the stream. So please let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me, all those sort of good things. I would really appreciate that. Now, before I dig in, I really do just want to have a chat with Emoji Man 12, who came into my stream before the stream started and basically begged to become a moderator. Now, Emoji Man 2, here on this channel, we actually talk about how what you just did there is the exact opposite of what you should do to become a moderator on someone's channel. Was it last week? I think it was last week's stream was actually a stream all around what you can do to become a good moderator and how streamers should be choosing their moderators. So you might want to go in and have a little look at that, and then it would be a way for you to look at it. And I don't bring people onto my streams unless I've pre-vetted them. So it's a really, really good idea to protect your community and to protect your audience by making sure that you are giving them the quality viewers and not quality viewers, but the quality guests that you've actually spoken to before. All right, so let's have a little look. There's so much going on in the chat. I want to just try and catch some messages. Russell had a great question before the stream started. Why was the upcoming banner appearing twice on my channel? I have no idea. I've got to check it out later. YouTube does some stuff sometimes. I have no idea what's going on there. I didn't do anything different in my setup. So I don't know why it did that. Let me look here. Yeah, create a classroom. I agree with you. It's best practice not to ask channels to be their mods. I've known Chantelle for years. She really handles her business quickly in the chat. I certainly try to anyway. I certainly try to. Cherry says, Chantelle handling this way more politely than I would. Absolutely. Look, because this channel is all about education. It's all about learning live streaming best practices. It's all about learning how to be a better live streamer. And when you become a better live streamer, you can actually help your audience to become a better audience, which is actually really what today's chat is about. It's about turning your fans or your viewers into super fans. Now, I'm not talking about like the Pat Flynn sort of method of super fans, which I absolutely love. I 100% highly recommend you go and get that audiobook. If I was clever, I would have put my my Amazon link in the description, which I did not, but I will make sure it's there after the stream. So we definitely want to try and educate our audiences as best as possible. Now, one of the things that I've really noticed, especially over on my Fiberific channel, so on my other channel, I have a different skewed audience. So right here now, you are people who understand YouTube. You really are. You're people who understand YouTube, and there we go. And just some of this stuff that I'm going to go over, you will already understand. Okay, so some of this stuff you will know, but your audience may not. And some of this stuff will just help you to help your audience. So, it's a bit like that Jerry Maguire movie, help me to help you kind of thing. So let's dig in. One of the things, hang on a second, I just grabbed some more comments in the chat. Glad to be organized enough to get here this morning. Good morning, Woodstead Creative. Great to see you. Larry says, howdy to all you great channels. Good morning, Larry. Great to see you. Mod on deck. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. We've already hidden someone today, so we'll see if we need to do any more of that. So let's have a look. I'm just going to have a little drink here. Okay, I do have, just for Russell, my Yeti cup full of coffee. The coffee may be a little stronger than usual, so so I have more. Okay. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about is explaining things to your audience in a way that helps them to be, just helps them to enjoy the stream more. So you know for yourself that there are things within your stream that make it more enjoyable. So little things like, and sometimes it's the really, really tiny little things. And then also helping them to watch the replays better, understanding how the podcast lists work. So there's a way that you can envelop some of this education into whatever niche you're in. Okay, it doesn't matter. You could be a card maker, you could be a builder, you could be, it doesn't matter what niche. Whatever niche you're in, if you educate your audience will appreciate it. So over on the Fiberific channel, I do have a demographic skewed to the slightly older of our community. And so a lot of them didn't grow up with YouTube, right? So like my daughter, she doesn't remember a world without YouTube. Whereas, you know, my age and upwards, we absolutely remember a world without YouTube. And so educating some of these things. Now I'm talking about how they can change the speed of, like, if they want to scrub back to the start of the stream and watch it at a faster speed to catch up to the live, showing them how to do that, being able to change the resolution or check their resolution. So I'm streaming at 1080p right now, but you may not all be watching at 1080p, and you can check that again by hitting the little cog and checking to see what your resolution is, and either increasing it or decreasing it depending on what you need. And this is the thing, we may all, yeah, Doug says, remember when the internet wasn't a thing? Yeah, I kind of do. Old enough to remember before the internet. Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Michael Sahovsky. It's so good to see you. Thank you for jumping in. So making it so that our communities grow, and they can grow together, and then they can help each other. Someone new comes in and explains how things are going. So right now I'm looking at you, the Creator Classroom, because when I jumped on, like I was setting things up and I stepped away and I came back and I saw that you had replied to the person who was asking to be made a mod and explained how things work here. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to actually educate somebody else in the chat. So, you know, you are a super fan in my eyes. You are a person who comes in, learns how to do things and shares that information with other people in the chat, new people in the chat. So I was reading a post this last night, I think, about somebody who is new to a fandom and wants to join in some of their live streams of a streamer, like it's a gaming fandom, wanted to join into a live stream, but sort of sat there and lurked the whole time because they felt like the chat was already a closed off group, and that they felt like every time they did comment, which they said they only commented twice, but they felt like that when they did comment that they were intruding. Now, I don't want that here. I want every person who is watching to feel comfortable enough to be able to ask a question and know that everybody else in the chat, or, you know, most people in the chat, because there's some snarky snarks in there. I know some of you hadn't had your coffee yet. But most of you in the chat are going to be supportive and encouraging. And how does that work? That is because we've educated you in how I like my chat. And this happened over on Fiberific as well. And it takes time. This is not something that you can just put in your channel rules. This is part of creating the atmosphere of the group that you're in. Okay? Let's have a look here. Home Rapid Repairers worked out that they're on 720p and they're on their phone. And 720p on a phone is awesome. It's still good. It's like clear. I shouldn't be too blurry, although I'll take the blurry. I don't mind blurry. This is exactly right. New people need to feel included by the host and the community chat. Absolutely, because they're not going to become part of your every week stream. They're not going to join in every time if they feel like they're intruding, if they feel like they're not included. Now, I understand that some streams are just so crazy busy. There's no possible way for the streamer to welcome everybody. I get it. Or and instances like this one where I have education to pass on. I may miss someone new coming into the chat. But I know someone in the chat here is going to be welcoming and kind because that's who you are. You're welcoming and kind. And that is because that is the community we're cultivating here. So it's education. So making sure you pass that education on to your community as well. So little things, the little things like double checking to see if you're in live chat versus top chat. Live chat means that you're getting all the comments all in order. Top chat is some random choice that YouTube makes as to what they think is their, I actually don't know what the top chat, it is just a random selection of the comments. It does just jumble them up a little. So making it so the audience can see everything, explaining that I'm multi-streaming right now. So if you are over on Twitter or LinkedIn, you probably aren't seeing all the comments that I'm seeing. So come over to YouTube where the majority of the chat is. Explain these things, talk it through so people know, or your audience knows what's going on and they're not like, where did that comment come from? Why is she putting that one on screen? Why not my comment? And the other thing is, why not your comment? If you're on LinkedIn, I may not have gotten it because LinkedIn doesn't actually send everything through, which is unfortunate, but it happens. Yep, create a classroom, super fan. That's quite small. Why is that so small? I just need to fix that up. It's a little. It's a little. Oh, what have I done? Oh no. Oh no, I did a Doug. Oh, Doug, how did you fix this that time that you trashed your comments by just trying to make them bigger or small? I'm just going to delete the comments and then try, oh my gosh. I don't know what I've done here. I want to be able to bring my comments on screen. Oh, okay. I had to choose a font. I've got to choose a font. There we go. I fixed it. Now I just need to make them a bit bigger. There we go. Whew. All right. It's all good. Now I do want to just make it just a little bigger. Please don't destroy everything while I make it just slightly larger. It did. All right. Okay, it's all fixed. Yeah. Change the font. Changing the font is what fixed it for me. I changed the font. No, it's all good. Doug's on his way to work, probably traveling around. There we go. Because I know Doug had a problem with this a little while back. That's all. Yeah, and so the Creator Classroom made a big deal when Crispy Skates joined their live stream. I even used her niche to create a text graphic in Chem. That is amazing. That is a phenomenal way to make someone feel really included. And there's a good chance Crispy Skates is going to make the effort to try and hit another one of your live streams because you made them feel included and made them feel good. Russell says, I see no value in multi-streaming to sites where folks can't easily comment. Well, I'm running a test. This is what's happening here. I'm running a test for a couple of months to see if it actually makes a difference, to see if I'm actually getting any views on these other platforms. So I don't have an opinion right now on that because I'm still testing and I try to solve my or hold my opinions. And it's just one of those things. I'm just trying to see where the audience is, but honestly, I'm all about that YouTube game. So most of you are here on YouTube. And it's quite cold here this morning. I'm like, can my puppy please come and lay on my feet? Because my toes are so cold right now and I do not have a heater on. Okay, So, do you have an example of a time when you were live streaming, or even if you haven't live streamed yet, how you replied to a comment in your chat? Do you have an example of a time of how you made someone feel welcome, how they let you know they feel welcome? You can just write yes or no. You don't have to put the whole thing in. But just a yes or no. Is there an instance where someone's actually said, "Hey, thank you so much for making me feel so welcome"? Probably the person I banned this morning doesn't feel that way. Good. Let me see. When I saw Crispy Skates in Nick's chat, I said hello there too and told her the graphics turned out great. That is fantastic. Yeah, that's right. Like Twitter people can comment, Twitch can comment, Facebook groups. Well, yeah, Facebook's different. I don't stream to Facebook. And there's a glitch currently happening with LinkedIn. It's supposed to work, but LinkedIn doesn't always send through every single comment, just most of them. And this is a great point as well. Woodstead Creative says they may see a notification on a different platform that they wouldn't have seen otherwise, and then they'll find the YouTube that way. Look, I agree with that as well. I know for myself, if somebody is streaming to Facebook, I don't like watching Facebook lives. I don't enjoy the experience, but I'll be like, oh, they're live on Facebook. I wonder if they're on YouTube, and I'll go over and check. So it's not too much extra effort, but it's an effort of a viewer. So you've got to think about what are the hoops you're expecting your viewers to jump through. What Russell said is not wrong. It's not wrong. But I'm still running a test, so I don't have a definitive opinion yet. So let me just have a look here. Yeah, so like the other thing is like, I put out a video this week explaining how to turn off and on live reactions. Now I believe I've left my live reactions on. Yep, they are. So the little red heart that's down the bottom, you can turn that off or on yourself, but it's not widespread. Like, we've worked out not everybody has access to being able to turn it off and on yet. And I haven't been able to work out if it's a geographical thing or if it's just a random thing. So I'm really hoping that we'll roll out to more people really soon. But explaining that if that heart is in the way for you, if you're finding the heart distracting, or if somebody clicks on it, if that's distracting, I personally, if I'm moderating a stream, I am so glad I can just flick that thing right off. So that, it's in my way as a moderator. But if it's not in your way as a viewer and it's not an issue, then you don't have to worry about it. But if it is in your way, if it is diminishing your viewer's experience, but you want to leave it on just in case somebody decides to give you a little heart, because you can see the reactions in your analytics. You can see if what you were doing was enjoyable. There's no time stamping for that though. So you can't see what you said that made them like press the heart or give the 100 or whatever it is that the options are. But you can see that something you did throughout the stream inspired somebody enough to hit a button or hit it multiple times. So having that there is always really it's a nice option to be able to leave it for those that like it and let those that don't like it turn it off. How you can do that is like by looking in your live chat, click the 3 dots at the top, and then you can actually just toggle the reactions off. The other thing that you can do is there's timestamps you can toggle off and on. And I find that really super advantageous before a stream, because I jumped in this morning and saw that there was a pile of comments and I was like, were they dropped? Because I've had this stream scheduled for a couple of days. Was that dropped yesterday, or is this person possibly still here? And I could toggle on the timestamps and check that, hey, those comments were just left in the last minute or so, or last couple of minutes, and you can check it that way. So you definitely can go in and explain how to make that easier. And because sometimes an audience member would like to know how long ago a comment was left to see how far behind the chat the streamer is. So because some of us get a bit backlogged in our chat, Some of us don't, but some of us do. And being able to see, okay, that comment came up 10 minutes ago. All right, they're about 10 minutes behind. So you know that if they're not responding to you, it's not because that it's a personal slight. It's just they're not up to your comment yet. So being able to toggle that off and on as well is really super helpful. And so as a viewer, some viewers don't know they have these options. So you can explain that and you can tell them, hey, if you're worried about where I'm up to in the chat because I'm a little behind, you can just toggle the timestamps on to check out where I'm up to, you know, and you can just throw that in as part of a conversation. You don't have to make it like an educational tutorial piece. And you know, you may get somebody come back going, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain that better? Be prepared to go into the detail. Maybe possibly have a quick screen share if that's appropriate. Only you can decide if that will work for your community or not. But being able to actually make those decisions to help them out, show them where the little cog is so that they can give themselves a better viewer experience by either slowing the chat voice down. I know that sometimes, especially like with some streamers who speak really quickly, you might want to just slow them down a notch and put it down to the 75% if you need more time to understand what they're saying, to take it in. Now, there's a couple of things to remember is that the chat stays at the rate of the conversation, not where you're up to in the stream while it's live. Okay, so keeping that in mind as well. But just understanding that not everybody knows where all this stuff is, and being able to help them to help themselves have a better viewing experience by just showing them some of these little things, and by really drawing attention. Like one of the big things that I found to be super helpful and super special to make my audience feel special is the ability to be able to bring their comments on screen now. Back when I first started streaming, I used to just have, like, it was OBS. I had the little widget that I just had all the comments just rolling down the side. I understood the risk, and sometimes it was terrible because this was like, you know, back in the day before I realized having other people as mods could be helpful. And some of the comments would be really bad, and you'd just be like trying to scramble to get rid of those, which is why I don't recommend having that if you can avoid it. But that was sort of the only way to bring the comments on screen at that stage. Whereas now you've got the ability through a lot of these softwares like Ecamm, Restream, StreamYard, EVMux, I believe even vMix, and a pile of the others. You can bring the comments on screen. Oh, OBS even has a plugin where you can bring the individual comment on screen, like this one from Russell from Florida Manufactured Home Living, saying, what happened to the pinned "Buy Me a Yacht" comment? I don't know. What did happen to it? Is it gone? I didn't delete it. I don't know. What did happen to it? But, you know, you can bring them on screen easily, and you can highlight them. You can make people feel special and inclusive. And included, I should say, not inclusive, and included. And that brings people together tighter. That brings you as part of the stream, not just me. And I think that really helps to create the bond of your group. Now, I understand if you're new to streaming, you may not have very many people. You may be feeling like there's nobody in your chat. Constantly talking as if there is someone in your chat is really important, because there could be somebody lurking and you don't know they're there. And so if you don't know they're there and you're sort of sitting there quietly, like I was reading another comment in another thread where someone was talking about how no one chats in their live streams, and the person helping them was like, well, do you talk? And they're like, well, no, because there's no one there to talk to. And it's like, well, my piece of advice for them is to keep talking, because no one, like, that's like, oh, they're just going to come in and leave because they think it's a non-talking stream, which there are those. For sure, some people certainly enjoy just especially for gaming or creative things, just having something happening. I know I run a productivity stream over on the Fiberific channel once a month, where I'll have the tunes cranked. They'll be cranked right up and they'll be like at level with my voice, because I will talk very rarely, because it's a productivity stream. It's there just to chill and we all work on something together. It's not so much for conversation with me, but the chat still moves. There's still people in there talking and I respond, but it's more about getting something else done. So making sure that you are conversing with the camera like I'm looking at a friend. So converse at the camera like I'm looking at the Creator Classroom, like I'm looking to Florida Manufactured Home Living. So like it's Russell just sitting opposite the table, or like it's Doug, like sitting opposite the table, making sure that there is an inclusion. Now, the other thing is, and this was a funny conversation that I saw in a stream, and I threw in a comment. Some of you probably saw it because you were there. But also remember, you don't have to stare at a camera the whole time, right? Because when you're having an actual in-person conversation with somebody, is it not creepy when they just stare at you forever and never blink and never look away and just constantly stare? And it's so creepy. I'm gonna make it even creepier. You ready? Creepier. We're just gonna keep staring and just keep staring and keep staring, and don't break eye contact, because you've got to keep the contact. No, that's not how it works. You need to look away. You need to be able to move around, like when and try to look at the camera, not at the side screen, because for me, that feels like you're looking over my shoulder, like what's behind me? So all of these little tips just to help make someone feel included. And just my goal, and your goal may be different, but my goal is for you to feel like you're just sitting opposite the table and we're just having coffee and we're talking about how to, make friends with the people in our chat, and to make them feel included, and just these great conversations. But in my brain, that's what it is. It's a conversation, and you're just sitting right there, just right at the other side of my table. So, cheers, and let's have some coffee. So good morning to Amazing Yachts Destinations, who's back in Thailand. Sorry for being late. It's crazy early for you, man. I totally get it. I'm always shocked and grateful when I see you jump in, because if I didn't have to be up at that time in the morning, I would not be in a live chat, because it's early for you. It's so early, but I always appreciate you coming in. What I do want to do, but so I don't forget, is I don't have because I'm not streaming with StreamYard, I don't have my overlay with my little Buy Me a Coffee thing. In the description is a link for Buy Me a Coffee. Over there, last week, I really sort of went a little bit hard after our conversation about creating some membership levels. So I went a little bit crazy, had a lot of fun, really had a big dig in around Buy Me a Coffee to see what sort of things you can and can't do. Had a lot of fun with it. But what I did notice is we now have our very first Buy Me a Coffee monthly supporter. So I went ahead and made the new graphic. So you ready? Here we go. Where is it? There it is. That's one. I have to. It's so new. Oh, that's right. I even made it. I made a spot on my. I made a spot on my Stream Deck. There we go. So live stream consultants, who is not actually here in the chat today, or at least as far as I'm aware, thank you so much for being my first cold brew level supporter. I really appreciate you jumping in and being the first cab off the rank for monthly supporters. So there we go. I made a graphic, did it all over in Adobe. It was a lot of fun. I had lots of fun with it. I probably had more fun than I probably should. I probably worked on that when I should have been doing something else. It happens. Let me know in the chat if you sometimes get sucked into a task that you shouldn't have done, or not so shouldn't have done, but shouldn't have prioritized, just because it was fun. So yeah, the stare off, absolutely. Doug, what have you not seen on mobile? Not seen it on mobile at all just yet. What have you not seen on mobile? I may have missed something. Adobe, maybe I need to leave. Just kidding. Well, if we can't respect other people's, preferences of software usage, then maybe this isn't the chat for you. It's a joke because Creator Classroom is like deep into Canva. So they are like big battles. Yeah. So, and sometimes fun is important. Absolutely. Sometimes doing something for fun is just important. Now, I did see that when I did ask the question about, was there a time when you did something that helped people? I did see it and I forgot to bring it on. Creator Classroom says, recently I had a DM from somebody asking for some encouragement. I spent 5 minutes just talking them through, just start, make simple cuts, don't make it complicated. From stranger to subscriber to fan. Absolutely. Sometimes people just need encouragement. I don't know what you're going through right now. I have no idea. Unless I know you on a personal level, which I don't know all of you on a personal level. And even some of you that I do know in person, I still don't know what's going through your brain right now, what's happening right this second. I don't know the answer to that. And sometimes people do just need a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of kindness. And unfortunately, there are people out there that take advantage of that and really just try to push the boundaries. But sometimes there's not. Sometimes the person just needs that little bit of your time. And if you've got a minute to spare, and I find, especially if I'm just between tasks and I'm on my phone, that's the time when I will tend to write the deeper, more meaningful replies to comments, when I'm getting around like that, just to really encourage people where I can. There's this amazing guy over on Twitter. I don't know how to say his name and it's going to kill me. Muaz, and he's a streamer, but he will totally just tweet out like, hey, I want to say hi to more YouTubers today. Say hi. And then he replies, I sent him a DM one day just saying, hey, I really appreciate how much time and effort you put into just being kind to people. Thanks for doing that. And he sent me back this great, wonderful, beautiful reply. So it was just an interaction. But sometimes you don't know the importance of that interaction to somebody. You don't know if that 1 second of your kindness or 5 seconds of your kindness made someone's day or not, or just turned their day a little bit. They could be having a terrible day, or they could be having an amazing day and it's the icing on the cake. You don't know what your kindness can do for people. So being kind, being helpful to your community, stepping in, answering their questions where you can. I'm not saying being on call 24/7. You have to have your boundaries. But somewhere include within your boundaries a time for this, a time to help educate your community in how to enjoy their YouTube experience better. One of the things that I explained over on the Fiberific channel, which in my brain I didn't think I needed to explain it, but the importance of not sharing your YouTube channel. And I realized a lot of my community was sharing a channel with their family, sharing a channel with their husband, sharing a channel with their kids. And that, or, especially those that I've got a friend whose husband is a farmer and she was just like, it's so frustrating. I'm looking for craft stuff and all I get is tractors because that's what he's watching. And so I explained how YouTube works to serve the viewer. And YouTube channels are free. So create a free Gmail account and set up your own YouTube account for viewing. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to cost anything, but just making it so that they can enjoy their experience better. Now, the side benefit of that, right? Because we do have to think about what is the advantage to us. Every now and again, it does come back to what's in it for me, right? Let's be honest. Sometimes it does come back to what's in it for me. Well, now those people are served my videos when they log into their account. They get the notification when my live stream's starting because their husband hasn't flicked it away going, craft, whatever. They get a more direct viewing experience for them. So making sure that you're helping them actually help, like it helps you as well. It helps you. Let's have a look in the chat. I'm seeing it roll heaps here. Creator Classroom certainly respects my use of Adobe. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, we're on the same page. Please don't use Paint. If you can avoid Paint, there's so many other options that are better. Woodstead Creative says, I love that you have this channel to support other creators rather than treating them as competition, especially as someone just starting out and as another crafter. Woodstead Creative, this was something that, a mindset that I got way back when I first started Fiberific, which is my yarn crafting business. And I actually was getting the feeling that other people were treating me as competition, and I didn't like that because I wasn't competition. We share an audience, we share a customer base, sure. But why can't we complement each other? Why can't we raise each other up? Why can't we encourage interaction to other businesses? I encourage interaction to so many other channels because I really think it's important to understand that not everybody will resonate with me. I am a bit of a quirky person. I get that. I know it about myself. So I can't expect everybody to be, yep, let's go to Chantelle and not listen. No. Go and watch other YouTube educators. They have other knowledge. They have a different way to teach, just like when I'm teaching knitting and crochet. Go and watch other knitting and crochet teachers because how they explain it might make more sense to you, whereas how I explain it might make more sense to the person next to you. Everyone learns a little bit differently. Find the voice that resonates with you. And if you have that attitude about yourself, you can have that attitude about your channel as well. So I'm a rising tide raises all the boats kind of person, not a this is my corner of the pie and you get away because you're going to touch it kind of thing. So and I think that's an attitude thing for me personally. And that comes through on my channel and in my business, and it comes through for other people as well. You can tell the kind of people someone is based on how they speak about their competition. Except between Adobe and Canva, I have yeah. Good morning, Dimmy. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us here in the chat. Yeah, everything's safe as long as we don't see the duct tape and the shovel. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Good morning, Andrew. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. I really appreciate you taking the time. And I am hide. Look, I'm double hide. I do have water. I've got this thing now. The second I see Andrew's name, I'm like, I need a drink. Amazing Yacht Destination says, your positivity makes a good start for the week. Mondays are so much better with you streaming. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. And I appreciate you jumping in as well. Dimmy Hard says, and the 12 points from Sweden goes to Chantelle. Australia got booted. We didn't even make it into Eurovision, which, you know what? I'm just going to digress for a second. I don't think Australia should be in Eurovision. I'm an Australian, right? And I don't think we should be there because I thought Eurovision was about Europe. We're not part of Europe. Anyway, you know. But thank you for the 12 points. I'll take those, Sweden. Let's have a look. Canva Classroom says, one of my friends just messaged me and said, your Canva tutorial just came across my feed. I didn't know it was yours until I clicked it. And then he complimented my video. He owns a marketing company. That is amazing. That's so good. I love that. That's so cool. Tech for Your Needs is here. It's great to see you, Tech for Your Needs. Let's have, yeah, I'm definitely a quirky person. I'm an acquired taste. Definitely. The coffee is particularly effective today. Yes, absolutely. Friendly competition. I certainly don't care who uses what. I always say use what works for you, even if it's not Canva. Yeah. This is the thing. And like this it's just not Canva Adobe. It's not knitting versus crochet. It's not like any competition things. You need to work out what works for you. And you need to work out what you can do to help make it work for your community. So pausing in the middle of a live stream to help somebody have a better viewing experience, that's okay. Like if somebody is having a problem and they're getting the swirly screen of death, right? I see sometimes in the chat, like some people get a little, and it could be how I'm reading it, because that's another thing as well. There's no tone in written word unless you're me and I can type sarcasm. But some people are like, really, oh, hello. Amazing Yacht Destinations is now a member. Wow. Let me have a look here. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you the coffee song because I haven't made a member thing yet.
Yes, coffee time. Coffee, 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 coffee. Cappuccino. Java. Yes.
I don't think Twitter shows me new members. I think it just shows me the coffees. I'll have to go in and have a look. I very much appreciate you becoming a member and a supporter. That's what I love about you sharing the love back. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, that's right. That's what I was saying before I got sidetracked. I'm like, no, I was in the middle of a sentence there and then got sidetracked by the coffee. But being able to just pause in the middle of a stream as the streamer and just go, hey, if you are having problems with the stream, maybe try refreshing your window by clicking the little, refresh button and seeing if that makes a difference for you. Or if that doesn't work, maybe drop the quality of your stream down by clicking the little, cog. And just, it's a 1 second, nearly throwaway comment that you just, it's just a difference between someone feeling included and not feeling included, especially if sometimes there's snarks in your community and the person who is struggling, they're probably frazzled. They want to listen. They want to understand. They want to learn from you, but they're not having an amazing experience and they're just getting frustrated. Having that little 1 second, whether it's either you or a moderator that you've put in, just explaining some options. It doesn't have to be you, but if you've got a smaller community, just pausing for a second, giving somebody that just second of time, just to be like, hey, I see you. I see that you're having problems. Let's get you fixed. Now, I'm not saying let it derail an entire stream, but a little second here and then let your moderators take over from there can be just a really special thing. And this is how you make a super fan. Including them, making them part of the stream, making them feel included in the chat. And that comes down to your moderators, the quality of the community that you're building. If you're building a dumpster fire, it's just going to grow into a ginormous bonfire, right? But if you're cultivating a beautiful community of people who want to help each other and raise each other up, then they will encompass new people to raise them up as well. And that comes down to the streamer. Let us have a look. I'm scrolling back here. Love the rising tides. My whole thing is wanting to add more joy and beauty to the world. There's plenty of room for everyone to add. It's the ones who want to take away that empty the pot. Yeah, and like even then, and I'll let this digress me for just digress me. Is that even properly English? It's not, but I'm going to digress with this for just a second. Those people who have a scarcity mindset, they have learned that. That's a learned response. You can actually help them learn to have an abundance mindset. You can encourage them. And even if they only have an abundance mindset in your chat, that's one little part of their day where they're not worried about missing something, about not holding on to it for dear life. So if they can have that 1 second where they can relax and have an abundance mindset, make it during your stream. Let's keep going. Yeah, typing sarcasm is an art form. I agree. And it's one I've cultivated over many years. I quite enjoy typing sarcasm. Oh yeah, Amazing Yacht Destinations. Like, oh my God, you just so sidetracked me with your amazing generosity. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is super helpful when there's regular chatters to help the frazzled, because they are frazzled. They're having a moment and they just need some help. Like, please just help me for 1 second and then I can just enjoy this. Like, it's building this as your community is what creates amazing fans and supporters. And like super fans is one of those weird terms. I'm not sure how, I'm not in love with the term, right? I don't love it. But it's like, you know, it's the top tier. I think of it as the foundation of your community are your super fans. Like they're your foundation members. I personally consider you my super fan. Or my super fans. I really do. You're here every week and you join in and you create the conversation and you help out people that jump in. You help me out when somebody jumps in and does the wrong thing and just explain to them in kind ways that what they're doing is not how we do it here. Do it this other way. And then it's up to that person how they respond. So I love that you guys all go in and help that as well. So thank you for being my super fans that make it so that I have this sort of, I get joy watching how you interact with each other. And so it's selfish of me, I know, but that's just how it is. I'm selfish. I'm just reading the chat here. I need some more coffee. And like I said before, I'm a little behind in the chat. So if you're working out where I'm up to, you can just go up and hit that 3-dot button and hit the timestamps and see which comments I am showing. Brown Eyed Girls, great to see you. Thank you so much for jumping in. It's the art of snark. Yes, it is. Absolutely. And it is a FOMO-free zone. Look, I get FOMO, right? And to a terrible level, to an excruciatingly terrible, debilitating level. Okay. It makes me sad when there's things I can't do that I really want to do. And I don't want that for you. So let's have a FOMO free zone, at least for this 1 hour a week, you know? I'm just catching up here. Here we go. Someone in my community was super annoyed about Canva removing the old photo editor. I reread it 3 times before responding. The feature you want is there, and I told them how to find it. That's awesome. I love that because again, they're frustrated. The thing they love is not where they left it. It's like my glasses are not where I left them. Who moved my glasses? But the reality is that they were there. I just needed to move the piece of paper off the top of them. And it's the same deal. They're just frustrated that they can't use the thing that they loved. So, personality plays a big part in streaming. Look, I agree to a degree. Because there's so many types of personalities that can work in live streaming. It really comes down to your niche, what you're talking about, you know, and being kind. Is being kind a personality trait? It might be. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. I could just be just wrong. I think having a certain nature, like a giving, sharing nature, I'm here to help you. That's how I think about these streams. I want to help you to get better at this and to build your own amazing communities. That's my goal. And in the meantime, the side benefit for me is I'm building an amazing community of people who are building amazing communities. So, you know, it's one of those things where there are little side benefits for myself. So I do get to feel selfish for a second. But yeah, it is just, you get out of stuff what you put in. If you're not willing to put in effort, then you don't get anything out of that. I was editing some shorts from, I think it was last week's stream. They're gonna drop this week, so keep an eye out and please watch my shorts. I know you've already watched the stream, but please watch the shorts. But one of the things was, if you don't have the time to moderate a community, you don't have a community. You've got a dumpster fire. And so, like, you have to put the effort and the energy and the time in. Like, before these streams, right, it is early for me on a Monday morning. It's 9 a.m., which I know for some people, like, oh my God, I was up at 7. Like, me too, but it takes me hours to wake up. I'm like a very slow waking up person. but I make the effort, excuse me, and I jump around and I try to build my energy levels. I make sure I'm caffeinated, because I want this to be an enjoyable experience for you. And that's how I see it. What am I going to do to help you today? And that's how I think about these streams. And I think maybe a few more streamers, I've seen some streamers where it's definitely about them. It's all me. And that does bother me. And I tend to leave those streams because that's my preference. Let me have a look. Game Winners prefers Cheer Squad over Superfans, and I love that. I think that's great. I think it's a great alternative because Superfans, I don't know, it feels a little too chaotic. It feels like, the supernatural fans who go to the conventions and have the photo thing and then compare all the photos for the last 15 conventions they've been to. That's awesome because I love doing that, and I'm not gonna yuck their yum, but I'm not that kind of person, and that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. So I try to think of it differently, and I still haven't come up with a better term for superfans. I like Cheer Squad. Cheer Squad works. To be fair, we're fans because of the way you help keep Nick's chat super clean and on track and jump in to help. I definitely see a lot of familiar faces from Nick Nimmin live streams on Saturday mornings. And that's it just showing a way to moderate. That's just one way that you can moderate. You don't have to moderate that way. That's the way Nick prefers. And Doug's probably having a little giggle if he's still floating around because I personally am a bit harsher, and there's things I would jump on and remove quicker if I could or at all. That made me feel like I was a fan before I even knew you had a channel. Wow, I didn't know that. Well, thank you. And Brown Eyed Girls agrees with that as well. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. And you're 100% right here, Brown Eyed Girls. It costs nothing to be kind and pleasant. Now, there is an exception. If someone's being a total to you, walking away is probably what costs even less. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I think kindness is a personality trait. Maybe it is. I'm just not, I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, I'm just catching up in the chat here. Just because someone is behind a keyboard, that does mean they should not chat appropriately and be pleasant and helpful if they can. Yeah, like it's just like any conversation in the world. I'm of the mind of if you can't say something nice, don't say something at all. Now, that's not to say you can't have constructive criticism. But keep it constructive. Just being critical helps nobody. I do think a key ingredient to being a streamer is the ability to continue a monologue way past where most would be gasping for breath. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that possibly is it. There's plenty of streamers who aren't like me, who don't talk as chaotic as I do. And their conversations are fantastic. I love watching Pat Flynn live streams, actually. He's so calm and just so, he just helps and just puts information out there. I watch his streams on stuff that I don't even need. I was watching a how to build a WordPress live stream. I've built WordPress. I've got them. But I still watched it because I enjoy how he streams and how he talks to his community. I feel like kindness is often a gift we innately have in us, but it is also something learned by the company we keep. And I also think some people have stopped holding out their kindness hand because it gets bitten. And it's a response to other people's reactions to your kindness. So yeah, I see both sides of it, but personally, I'm that person that just keeps trying over and over again. That's it. It takes a lot for me to turn my back on a person. So, let's have a look here. Rebel Canners has made it to the chat. Hello, Rebel Canners. Great to see you. Oh, you love watching those shorts? Thank you. I appreciate that. Brown Eyed Girl says, I am definitely an admirer of Chantelle's style of relaying information. Thank you. Are you a Dean or a Sam girl? I'm a Castiel girl. Just Doug Hewson is now a member. Thank you, Doug. Guys, I'm going to have to go in and update all my graphics for the members slides. And I'll play that again just to be special. I'll play that again a little bit later. It was, Yeah, sometimes just walking away. Look, this is a skill that I have had to learn on the internet, and it was actually Hank Green who started me on it a while back, which is you don't have to have an opinion on everything. You just don't. You don't have to respond to everything. And because I'm that person who's just like, oh my God, that's right. And then you're like, hang on, this isn't my group. These aren't my monkeys. Back, and just scroll. I don't have to get involved. But yeah, sometimes you just like, you want to, especially like for me, it's especially if someone is being unjustifiably rude. It's like, so obviously I do a lot of that on my phone. So because I wasn't doing this, I'm like doing this. Yeah. Let's have a look here. I watched Nick 3 hours the first time without chatting because I was watching to see how the stream went and how the mods handled the chatters. Oh, look, and I'm with you on that one. I will watch a new streamer and I will not just jump in and go, hi, straight away until I know how it's going to be taken, because I certainly don't. I don't want to be piled on. Tech for Your Needs discovered me through Clubhouse. Awesome. It's been a while since I've been on Clubhouse, I'll be honest, but I used to love it. I bought my first Apple device just so I could go onto Clubhouse. I bought an iPad because I'm an Android girl and a Windows user, and it was a slippery slope. Now I have a Mac Mini, so yeah, and also other Mac things. My daughter is just like, I think you've got more Apple things than I do now, which is sad. Pat Flynn is one of my go-to people for podcasting wisdom. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Home Rapid Repair says, I'm on a PC now. Are my emojis coming through? Well, that one is. That one certainly is. We'll see if the it's normally the ones in the YouTube section, like there we go. Doug's blue face smiling. That was a big blue, like, you know, in the YouTube chat. Those ones tend not to come through, but the standard emojis come through fine. Yeah, that's right. No response is actually a response. It really is. Yeah, there we go. Pink hand waving. That's right. I have a problem in live streams when they have 15 mods and they tell their mods not to moderate. It makes no sense to me. Why have a moderator if they're not there to moderate? It puts out a false sense of security for those people. For me, if I see a moderator in a chat, I'm like, oh, cool. Someone's going to be here making sure that the scammers aren't scamming. And if you've got 15 moderators in the chat, someone should be doing some work, honestly. I don't understand it, honestly, at all. I don't get that sort of the thought process. Yeah, I think that's your standard icons rather than the YouTube level icons, because that one worked. So yeah, I mean, I probably would leave as well, honestly. Yeah, I don't understand. Now I am on Ecamm again today. It might be an Ecamm thing. I do believe they work on StreamYard, or at least they did. I remember being very excited. So yeah. Yeah, and the Brown Eyed Girls has written, and the live streamer tells the mods to let the troll. I want to play with them for a while. That is them having selfish fun at the expense. That's your streamer having selfish fun at the expense of the troll, which I am not necessarily sad about, but also at the expense of the audience. The rest of the community have to deal with that as well. And while it may be funny for a moment, somebody coming in new doesn't understand what's going on. Yeah. Doug says they're using the mod wrench as a reward for being a fan, which gives them powers no mere mortal should have on their channel. I mean, Doug and I 100% agree on this. You should not be modding people as a reward for viewership. That's it. Being a mod is not a reward for coming and watching someone stream for 4 weeks in a row or whatever arbitrary thing. No, you choose your moderators with care, because those moderators will get to change the tone of your community. As the Creator Classroom. You used to be Canva Classroom, and in my brain you'll always be Canva Classroom. But earlier you said that you liked how I modded in Nick's stream, which made you a fan of me before you even knew I had a channel. That is the issue with, and you got to see how I worked. You got to see what that moderator got to do. And it's just, it's not right. A moderator has a task. They have a job to do. It's a serious, like, I personally think it's a serious decision. It's something that you just have to take cautiously. It is not a candy that you just toss out of the back of a float as you fly by. It's just not what it is. Oh, here we go. There was a guy who advocated for giving out mod powers like candy if people turned up regularly. Yeah, I think we were in the same stream and we were like, what on earth? But yeah, it is so crazy. It's just not how it's not how we do things here. That's not how we do things here. If that's what you want, if you want to be made my mod, and that's why you're showing up, it's probably not. You're probably here for the wrong reasons. I'm here to help you find mods for your chats. If Chantelle ever throws a blue wrench at me, it's because I said something dumb. Look, yeah, you would have had to say something pretty dumb. And for me to think that you're saying it in a mean way. We have lots of folks in the US that love watching ridiculous fighting, so imagine that could be that type of channel. Clearly not something you or I want to be part of, though. Absolutely. For me, that viewing experience would be trashed. I'm just going to sneeze for a second. You know when you think you're going to sneeze and then you don't sneeze and it's just like you can just feel it, the sneeze just hanging out, like chilling, and it's just going to just whenever it feels like it. But yeah, I agree with you, Florida Manufactured Home Living. It's definitely not the kind of stream that I want to be part of. Frankie over 50 said, I was in a chat once where one of the mods had a go at me because they disagreed with my opinion. It ruined the stream for me. A regular punter, fine, but a mod having a go was just not on. And that's the thing. If you're a moderator, you have to understand that you've got a special little hat on that says approved by streamer. And it is, oh, sorry. I was like holding my nose because I thought like I was going to sneeze. But yeah, it's, your moderators have got a little like pre-approved hat from the streamer, so yeah, I can imagine that would not be awesome. Yeah, the Oprah of wrenches. I love that. I love how that is. I can just visualize you get a wrench, you get a wrench. Yeah. Oh, I should like do the whole. My dad sneezes like, you know, the neighbors need to hear about it, like the big crazy like achoo kind of sneezes. I should totally record that. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Let's have a look here. And if Twitter ever takes away my emoji wrench, I'll have no responses left. Possibly not. Some of the channels I mod on value free speech, and some people take that as they can say rude things. Then they get upset when their comment is deleted. See, I think of free speech as something different. Free speech doesn't mean you get the right to say whatever you want. Free speech is where you get to say wherever you want, with no repercussions from the government. And not every country has free speech laws like that. That's an American thing. I think that your community should be able to talk freely about the topic, while still being respectful of the other people within the community. Does that make sense? I've been timed out by moderators because I disagree with the live streamer's comment about a topic they're discussing. See, I have no issues with disagreement. It would depend on how it was said. Like if you were rude or dismissive or aggressive, which I can't imagine you were, that's different. But you should totally be able to have an opinion as long as your opinion is not rude or encroaching on someone else's. Well, I mean, opinions can encroach on each other, of course. Oh yeah, some moderators very much are on power trips. And some moderators are rude. I've been in chats where the moderators are the most rude people in the chat. I'm like, I'm out. Backing out, back out. plus your own values have no bearing on what you think should fly in another person's channel as a mod. 100% true. You need to moderate someone's community how they want it moderated, not how you think it should be moderated. I know that sounds bizarre. And I will choose communities I moderate based on is how they want it moderated too far away from how I feel, because I'm not going to stop being, like, I'm not going to moderate in a chat that's about a topic that is in some way seriously offensive to me. I'm not going to be involved in that. I don't want my name attached to it. I want no part of it. But, and you need to think about that as well, because, you know, getting the approval hat from the streamer, you know, shows that the streamer approves of you, but you wearing the blue wrench means you approve of the streamer. You're both connected to each other. And if that streamer is doing things that you just can't deal with, like on a level of there's a word I'm thinking of. My brain since COVID, hey, like words don't come properly, which just really bugs me. But basically, like, you have to be able to live with it. You've got to live with yourself. And so you need to find people that you resonate with, like have similar beliefs, have similar ideals. They don't have to be identical. And you still, like, as a moderator, like over on Nick's streams, I mod those differently than I mod my streams. Only a little bit differently, but they're different. There's some things that we have in common. I personally don't like caps lock. If someone's caps locking hard in my thing and it's obvious that it's not just an accidental caps lock, dude, those comments are being deleted because I don't like being yelled at. If somebody puts in 11 billion emojis, that's them attention seeking. There's no reason for 11 billion emojis. It doesn't enhance their comment. Their comment was just 11 billion emojis. That's gone as well. I have a 5 emoji limit in my brain, you know, but those things are the things that I have in my streams and my brain. Other streamers may be fine with that. They may be 100% okay with it, and I have to allow it. And Doug will hear me in our voice calls when we get to have them. Like, I want to delete that comment. He's like, you can't. I'm like, but I want to, because they're yelling and they got their caps lock stuck on. But that's just not how it works. So Doug reins me in quite a lot. Like, I would probably moderate a dash harder if it was all up to me. Yeah, absolutely. Moderators need to follow the rules as well that are set forth by the channel owners. The moderators are held, I actually think, are held to a higher standard. I think they should be held to a higher standard, and they should not be skirting the rules. They need to follow the rules. Absolutely. Except for the one rule. There's one rule that moderators don't need to follow, which is no links in the chat by anybody. Moderators are allowed to add those links. Other than that, they have to follow all of the same rules. Yeah, 11 billion is a thing that I say a lot. Yeah. I've had moderators ban me or time me out for disagreeing with the channel owner's comments on a topic or asking a question that they didn't like that was perfectly okay. Yeah, I mean, depending on how it's worded or the kind of conversation, maybe, but usually a disagreeing comment, depending on how it's written, is just tech for your needs. I see that. But yeah, disagreeing with a comment can actually provoke conversation, and it can show multiple sides and multiple facets. I don't see that a general disagreement is a bad thing. I just think it depends on how it's worded. I don't think that people in a comment area need to be sheep. They don't have to agree with the streamer. But they have to be respectful, because without the respect, then it turns into a dumpster fire. You can be respectful and disagree. So, yeah. That's an example of where I've been called out as a mod power trip because of the caps lock rule of the overuse of emojis. Yeah, I just think, look, you know what? I try to be like okay with it. And I'll write, hey, it looks like you've left your caps lock on. I'll give them an opportunity. Like, Tech for Your Needs, I know is just pressing a button. Like, it's like, you know, it's not like he's not yelling at me as such. It's just being cheeky. It's different. Yeah, count those emojis carefully. Yeah. She might time you out. Absolutely. Oh, and this is it as well. As a moderator, you can absolutely ask people to get the conversation back on track. And if I'll politely ask people to get the conversation back on track if the conversation goes political or religious, depending on the streamway. More leeway, of course, if that streamer has started those conversations. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like sometimes a streamer will start a conversation. They will say something that starts a conversation in the chat that would be off the table in that chat. And as the moderator, you have to accept that the streamer started the conversation. But once the streamer stops and moves on, getting the chat back on track, that can be challenging sometimes. I love when Nick shouts you and Doug out because it shows the viewers that he trusts and respects you. Thank you. I have to confess that it does make me smile a little bit. I'll be like, oh, and just keep going with what I'm doing. It makes me feel respected. And I do think that we do. And I look, number one, me at sometimes not being this enough. But we need to be thanking our moderators in every stream. Even if it's just as simple and thank you to the moderators, you know, like especially if you've got a lot of them. But like for me right now, we have Doug. I think Andrew was in here a moment ago, but I know that when I see Doug in the chat with his little wrench, I know that I can sit back a little bit and just enjoy the chat. I know that he's going to be on it. I do tend to, because I know he's in there by himself and he's on his phone on a Monday, I do try to keep a little eye on it. But having a good moderator is a gift, right? Even if you're paying them, it's a gift having a good moderator. And even if you pay your moderator like really, really well, it still helps. Like, who here has a day job where you actually you feel a little bit nice if your boss actually goes, yeah, you did a great job. Thanks for doing that. Like, yeah, it's your job, but just having that little bit of recognition for doing it is also very nice. Yeah, don't get derailed. Home rapid repair. I'm trying not to get derailed, but you guys know me. Shiny thing in the chat. I got through all my list. So if you guys have any more questions about ways to try and improve a viewer's experience of your live streams, my brain just literally froze. Ways for viewers to enjoy your live streams better, to have a better viewing experience overall on YouTube, and they can thank you for that. Ask the questions, drop them in the chat. If you've got a question, make sure you pop it in the chat, because I won't know you have a question unless you tell me. I always greet the moderators whenever I enter a channel. That's awesome. That's amazing. You and Doug are by far the best moderators I've ever come across from the Creator Classroom. I very much appreciate you saying that. I'm like a little, oh. Let's have a look here. We have someone, Esme Sky says we have someone who uses caps lock for works, so all their chats were caps lock. Their software does have an option to only use caps in the app, but they refuse to use it. Yeah, look, every now and again there'll be somebody who comes in and they'll be like, hey, I'm not turning off caps, I'm visually impaired, whatever. Like sometimes there's a reason people prefer caps. I tend to let those slide. But when it's someone who usually writes, or what they're writing is just mean or vitriol and they are yelling at you, like, they're gone, they're out, bye-bye. Let's have a look. I'm still scrolling in the chat. I see chatting no different than meeting people in public, in person. That's how I try to think about it, honestly. It's like, how would I speak to this person if they were right here? So, yeah. Hey, young Shizzy. It's good to see you in the chat. Oh, yeah. Like, seriously, if you're rude to a mod, you're out. It's that simple. There's no coming back from that. You send a nasty DM, you send anything mean, rude, whatever. You be rude or disrespectful to the mods, you have no rights. Bye-bye. Yeah. Oh, my face was buffering. Oops. Sorry. Let's have a look here. I don't know. I was raised to be polite and show good manners. When you enter a room, it's the responsibility of the people here to say hi. You're the one who is entering the channel. Yeah, look, quite often, unless you chat in a chat, no one knows you're there for a start. No one's going to say hello to you if you don't say hello first, because they don't know you're there. But the other thing is that's also, it could also be like for me, I was raised to be seen but not heard. So I enter a room quietly and wait until somebody says hello to me first in real life. And that's a difference in upbringings. So that we could be looking at things from a different perspective because we have different upbringings, people from different countries. This is the thing to remember is YouTube is a multicultural. It is an international platform. While the majority of people in a lot of the chats, at least that I'm in, are English speakers, that doesn't mean that they see the world in exactly the same way I do. So understanding that as well is also important, that there are other perspectives to look at it, because I still see me as coming in quietly as being respectful because that's how I was brought up and to believe that was respectful. Whereas for you've been brought up to say hello and to do that, and that's how you've been brought up to believe that something is respectful. We need to respect the respect of other people. So giving grace is how I see it. Giving grace. Check the intention. Wait and see what happens further down the track. But I don't know about the greatest streamers of all time. We definitely enjoy streaming. Definitely enjoy it. Yeah, the visually impaired do have an excuse. Look, honestly, I think if you're visually impaired, you've probably got some other systems set up on your computer that you don't need to caps lock all the time. There's other options. But if you're on a device and that you're not usually on, that's another thing. So yeah. Let's have a look. Some live streams I treat like a podcast, just there to listen. Yeah, absolutely. And also some streamers treat their live streams like a podcast and they don't interact with their chat. I personally don't tend to watch those live. I'll just watch the replay later. And I'll save my live watching times for somebody who actually does interact with their chat. So I'm not the biggest fan of live recording of podcasts, I have to say. And that's a personal preference. I know it's a big thing and I know lots of people love to do it. But I'm not the biggest fan of live recordings of podcasts because when you're making a standalone podcast, I know like the irony is this is also being recorded as a podcast. I get the irony. I really do. But I'm not treating this as I will not chat with my chat because that will ruin the experience for the replay watchers or the podcast listeners. I don't have that. For me, my priority right now is you that made the time to be here with me right now. And if I want to create a podcast, I'll record that so that I can make my priority the people that are coming back for that. Now, I will take into consideration the fact that the podcast people usually aren't viewing. So I'll try to describe what I'm doing or seeing or you know, the chat comments. I will read them out. I try very hard not just to respond. I try very hard to read the comment and then respond. I don't always succeed. Sometimes I screw it up, but I try very hard. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of treating the live chat like they don't exist. It's not. Yes, it does. It's snarky. Chantelle and quietly. Does that really happen? Mm-hmm. It does. It actually happens a lot. Believe it or not. I'm just having a little look. Michael's asking if his use of caps are bothering me. No, you don't tend to go heavily on the caps. So nothing unnecessary anyway, at least not off the top of my head. Woodstead says, I'm still trying to work through feeling jittery when someone does actually turn up in my chat. It's just a practice thing, Woodstead. It really is. And it's just getting comfortable. You're learning so much. When you're beginning live streaming, there's so many plates you're spinning in the air that adding someone actually turning up into your chat for the first time, it's exciting, but also nerve-wracking, and it's okay. It's just practice. It really is. Let me have a look here. I just saw something. Creative Classroom says, I worked at a camp for the blind and visually impaired, so I learned a lot that summer. Yeah, I've got family who are blind and deaf. So, well, they're not blind and deaf. There's some blinds and some deaf. So I'm used to being respectful of different disabilities, but I also understand that sometimes some people push harder than they probably need to. I am the same in real life. I wait till being spoken to, but online I feel if I don't say hello when entering a chat, people don't know you're there and you can't engage in the chat. That's 100% true. If you don't speak in a chat, no one knows you're there. Now, I'm learning and adapting because of exactly that. If you don't speak, they don't know you're there. But I tend to not just jump in and go, hey, chat, unless it's a chat I'm used to, obviously. But I might actually, my first comment might be a question, or it might be like a response to something, and just join into the chat, just slide into the conversation rather than going, hi, I'm just part of the conversation. So it's just a personal preference. None of these things are wrong. They're just different. That's all. I'm just having a little look. Let's hear it. Oh yeah, Major Brown Eyes Girl says, major respect for anyone who ventures out to live stream. 100% agree. It is not natural. It's not naturally comfortable for most people. It's really not. When I very first started live streaming, like I worked, it's like 8 years ago. I'm like, oh wow, that 8 years. Am I the only person that just doesn't seem to count those 3 years of like the COVID time? It's like, oh wait, that was 5 years ago, not 2 years ago, you know, like, but 8 years ago. So I started streaming in like 2016, 2017. And way back then it was so very stressful. It was so very stressful. And when someone commented, I was just like, someone's watching, oh my gosh, you know, it was very, but it's like a lot of things. It's like many things in this creative path that we've chosen. You just have to keep practicing. You just have to give yourself the opportunity to learn and adjust and grow. And you need to be prepared for the changing waves. So you need to go with the flow as well. Let's have a look. Tech for Your Needs has a question. What is one thing as a viewer turn you off as a live stream and that you'll leave right away? If I venture into a live stream and like it normally takes a couple of minutes, so maybe not straight away, but if I venture into a live stream and the streamer is being rude to the chat, like just rude for whatever reason, I'll back out of it. I don't like that kind of environment, so that doesn't feel comfortable to me. The other thing is if the chat is not being moderated. So if the chat is a dumpster fire, I'm also out. So for me, if a streamer, like, look, I need to put a little asterisk next to this, because I think if a chat has no moderators, there's a problem, especially if it's a big chat. If you're a small chat and you don't have a moderator, you're moderating it yourself. It is being moderated, right? You may not have a blue wrench in there, but you're in there and you're keeping an eye on it. That is different. But if the chat is not being moderated, so if the streamer's not keeping an eye on it and not getting rid of people or comments that shouldn't be there, and there's no moderators there, and it's just this cesspit of vitriol, I'm out. I don't have time for that. I don't want that in my life. I don't need to read that. Doug will tell you it takes me a bit to warm up when I stream. See, I try to be warmed up when I hit go live. So I jump around. I'm usually running around, making sure the dog's locked in, and like getting energy levels up, so that I start, the stream with a high level. As I stream longer, the level I like lean forward more. The level of energy goes down a bit. Like get some more coffee. But yeah, let's have a look. Yep, I don't like to. Yep, I'm agreed. Disrespectful people, don't like them. Yep, rude people. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here we go. There's something slightly different. Creator Classroom doesn't like it when there's terrible audio, where I can't understand what's happening, and also, yes, rude people. I actually pulled Joanne from StreamYard into Mel's stream because it was getting a bit out of control. Yeah, like, unfortunately for StreamYard, some of their streams run at times when Doug and I can't mod. So, we do have to sleep at some stage. And Mel's streams, I think, start at around 2 a.m. on a weekday for me. And so I can't. I've got other things I've got to do the next day. So I need to be able to people. But and especially if you're a channel like StreamYard, that sort of size where you have an unusual chat where you've got new people constantly coming through, you need to make sure that you've contacted mods to make sure you've got mods. So, like this is one of those things. If you are in a situation where you know that in every chat or in quite a few chats, a mod has been needed to really, work hard, it's up to you as the streamer to make sure there's a moderator available. And if your volunteer moderators can't be there, then you might need to step out and look at getting a contract on one so that they can lock it into their calendar and they can make that a priority. If your moderators are not paid, in whether it's in kind or something, if they're not in some way reimbursed for their time, then you cannot expect them to be there every week. You can't. That's really not the way to look at it. Now, you could and I mentioned this in last week's stream as well, you could be compensating them in a way where they get time with you as a streamer. So maybe 15 minutes every now and again where you jump on a call, or where they get priority response in DMs or something. That is payment in kind. That counts. But if you just expect them just to jump in, deal with all the crap, and then you never speak to them, you don't pay them, you don't say thank you to them, nothing, they're not going to prioritize your streams. They'll still come in because they enjoy it. That's something they enjoy. They'll still come in when they can, but they're not going to make it a full priority in their life. Yes, that's exactly right. So they can deal with the nuts, for sure. Here we go. Brown Eyed Girl says, I over time want to feel I'm entering into a familiar environment. When I go into a channel, I feel I'm entering into a safe space, so to speak, to a small degree, but of course I'm vigilant. We all have to protect ourselves. Each of us individually have different levels and different standards and different things that we do and don't appreciate. So some streams may be better for one of us, but not the other, things like that. But it's one of those things where you just need to make that decision for yourself, and you have to feel safe. Like this is if you're building a community, which we talk about a lot here on this channel, if you are building a community, you need those community members to feel safe. That is what a community is, a group of people, like-minded people getting together regularly to converse on a topic in a safe environment. So make a safe environment. Let's have a look. This is one of the things. I had a troll type in a bad word one letter at a time today, but I wasn't able to in the chat at the time. I banned them when I saw it though. Oh, look, they will try everything to get those bad words into your chat. It's like it's a game. So yeah. Doug is saying, I had one streamer tell me to send them a bill each month. I was doing it because of the value they were providing me, so I did not send the bill. And that's the thing. You were already receiving value to a level that meant a lot to you. So you don't, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be paid in cash, but being like receiving value or in kind, I think is important. Feeling respected is a big one. So many people I would have given it timeouts, couldn't. So I go, Mel isn't seeing it yet. Let me try to find someone that can. Yeah, absolutely. And that's awesome, because even though you're not a moderator there, you are still a community member. And because I think that's the thing, like just because you're not a moderator in a community doesn't mean that you can't be a good community member. So yeah, Mel's chats are normally, because at the time that they're normally a little underattended mod-wise. But you won't be able to jump onto Joanne soon. She finishes up with StreamYard very soon. Actually, would she still be there now? I don't know. She was finishing up. Her contract is just about over. But yeah, making sure that your community feels supported and encouraged, no matter the niche. Every niche is going to be a little different on what that support and encouragement look like. That's what you need to do. Citizen arrest powers. Look, do you know what? You do have them. You do have citizen arrest powers. Every single person in a chat can report comments and block that person from your view. All you have to do is click the 3 dots. Every person can see report and I think it's hide user. Now, that will just hide them from your individual chat, not the chat as a whole, but that will hide them from your chat. So you don't have to have those words in your eyes. So it is, you can absolutely do that, and you can report them. So if their comments are, there's a whole list. So it's a little quick form that you fill out. Like, is it harassment? Is it spam? You just quickly just fill out that form, and you can absolutely do that. So as viewers, as community members, it is absolutely important that you support the community by calling out the bad behavior. But if they continue on and they don't listen to you, there's nothing you can really do. You aren't a mod. You can't get rid of it. You could tag a mod if there happens to be a mod and draw their attention to it, especially if it's a busy chat. But other than that, all you can do is protect your own eyes. So you can block them from your view, and you can report that account if what they're doing is really bad. So, Brown Eyed Girl says, I personally block people at times because I was so annoying and intrusive to the chat. Absolutely. So if it's taking away from you as a viewer, if it's taking away from your enjoyment of a chat, one person just doing whatever it is that they're doing, you can block them from your view. Everyone else will still be able to see them, just you won't be able to see them. But if that improves your level of enjoyment in your viewer experience, then do it. Like, seriously, you don't have to read everyone's comments. Creative Classroom says that phone is dying, so I'll be done in the chat, but I'm still watching on TV. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So, Brown Eyed Girl says, I come into a chat to enjoy the channel owner and the chat. If I decide to chat, sometimes I turn off the chat. Absolutely. And there's just a big X. You can just turn off the chat. You don't have to be a part of the chat if you don't want to be. It's totally optional. I personally think the chat is what makes live streams special for me, so I tend not to turn it off. But every now and again I do, like the Creative Classroom's doing. I'll be out in the living room. I'm currently knitting a pair of joggers, like as in tracky dacks, which is a whole nother conversation. But I'll be sitting out in the lounge room knitting away, and I'll have a live stream on. I don't need the chat because it's a replay or something, and I'll just be like, knitting away, listening to the streamer. So different experiences, like you get to decide these things, and just to bring it all back to what the stream is about, you need to tell your community that these options are available to them, because not everybody knows they're there, or they don't understand what they are. Some people think if they click that block button that it blocks it for everybody. It doesn't. It just blocks it for them. Unless they're a moderator, then it blocks it. Then that user is hidden from the whole channel. So explaining how some of these things work for your viewers to enhance their enjoyment. Now, it doesn't just enhance their enjoyment on your channel. It enhances their enjoyment on YouTube as a whole. But they will remember that you were the one that helped them get to that. You were the one that told them that they could change the speed or change the chat over, or all these things. You were the one that helped them with that, and they'll remember that, and they'll come back to your community so that you can help them again, because that's what we want. We're here to help them. Let's have a look. Oh this it's difficult when a troll keeps popping up with a different account. Yes. I had that this week in Nick's chat. There was this guy, and he just kept coming back. I think I blocked him like 5 or 6 times on 5 or 6 different accounts. It was easy to see because the comment, it was cut and paste to the comment, so it was exactly the same comment. So it was very easy, that one, just to be able to gone. And it made it a bit easier, but it's a bit harder when they come back on a new account, but you just have to keep an eye on it. You just got to keep an eye on it. SMA Sky said that he's actually sent out mods before. Oh, I've sent out. Oh, okay. So I'm thinking you've like blocked your mods, but no, you've sent like an SOS or like you've called mods into a chat. Yeah. So let's have a look here. Chat's still moving. SMA Sky says, I tend not to block people from my personal account when I'm not a mod. When we discovered doing that doesn't show their messages on another channel if you are a mod. I tend not to block people from my personal account when I'm not a mod. We discovered that doing that doesn't show the message on another channel. So if you've got... Sorry, I'm a little confused. So what you're saying is you think that if you blocked someone on like channel A and you've got that set up, are you setting that up under the same email address or something? I'm a little confused, because it should be individual. It shouldn't be as an overarching thing. I'm confused. I will definitely need to look into that more, because you're right. You don't want to not be able to see messages as a moderator. But I personally have my personal viewing channels not attached to anything I mod with. It's a totally separate channel. So maybe I'm not noticing it because I don't connect it that way. I don't know. I'll definitely have to look into that. I don't know the answer. But it sounds like you may have the answer right there. I need to understand it better. My throat has gotten very sore all of a sudden. Well, oh yeah, absolutely. Block words list. If you are not adding to your block words list words that you don't want to appear in your chat, then you're making more work for yourself as a streamer. Utilize the block words list. Yep, subscribe. Like, this is why we have so many tools. SMA Sky said, that's when you use the block words list if you can. I've also had to turn on subscriber. Oops, dropped away. Come back. The subscribers only to stop the returning trolls or spam bots. Absolutely. Usually and it's not always the case, but usually the trolls are not subscribers to your channel. So flicking over to subscriber mode for a little while can just weed them out for a little bit, and then switching it back after a little while so that it's not on subscriber mode for the whole stream. But yeah, it's definitely we've got this enormous suite of tools that we can use to help us moderate from a channel owner to a moderator to a viewer experience. There are tools at our disposal to make our experiences better, and learning and understanding those I understand the point now. SMA Sky says, so as a non-mod on a channel, if I block someone there, I wouldn't see their messages on a channel where I am the mod. Okay, I understand now. So you're watching a different channel, you've blocked some idiot over there, but then you go on to channel B where you're actually a moderator, and idiot comments because you've blocked them from your view are not appearing there. I understand. Yes, and that's why I don't moderate with my viewing channel. So I have totally separate YouTube channels I view from versus I moderate from. Unless I do have, like, there's exceptions to that rule. So if I'm watching something, if I'm viewing something in my industry, I'll tend to use this account. But if I'm just viewing for the fun of viewing, different one. Yeah, slow mode. Slow mode's another good option to drop your channel into. Being able to slow down the chat so your moderators can keep up. Absolutely, especially if you've got a very fast moving chat. Being able to drop it into slow mode means that your moderators have got better chance to succeed. Yeah, most people hate it when you put chats into slow mode, but there's a reason for it. And usually most people have used slow mode for a reason. Yeah. But yes. But on that note, everybody, I'm going to get on and do the next task for my day, and as you should do as well. So I'll see you here next week with a new topic to chat about. If you've got ideas for topics you want me to cover, please send them to me. I'm always open to new ideas. And, just keep it streaming based, or YouTube based. We tend to keep on those topics here. So I hope you have a fantastic week. I'd love to see any streams that you're working on so I can jump in and say hello. And I will catch us all next time. Have a great one. Bye now.